Jai Hind everyone. Today we have with us one of our recommended students, Sheen Mishri, who was recommended yesterday from Fun AFSB Dehradun for AFCAT Entry. Sheen belongs to Jammu, and this was her second attempt. Last attempt, unfortunately, she had got conference out, but this time she came back with better preparation, more preparation, and she could crack the SSB. And she was a student of our AMAS 34 batch, and at that time, due to Corona, we had partially online and few days offline for the GTO practice. But she remembered all that and went for the SSB and cleared it. So we just discuss with you, Sheen, what was the method of preparation and what was the things you remember from SSB. Yesterday only you finished. So can you take us over or a quick overview of what all happened at SSB?
So the main focus was to revise the notes, and I made it a point that everything that sir mentioned, be it a small detail, I penned it down and I tried to highlight it as much as possible. So that is what I did for my initial preparation. And before I went to
About your stage, how was the group? How did you handle the stage one? Because I think you were a repeater. So repeater has got a very repeater batch has journey very vibrant.
yes.
So how many girls were there? How did you handle? What was your picture?
So the picture was as we were taught in AMAS in one of our practice sessions. So there were two girls who were trying to ring a bell. So I was well prepared with the story, and instantly it clicked me, and I wrote the picture. And what I did was I did not indulge in any chatting. I constantly revised my story so that I do not fumble and I narrate the story very well. So I went. I was the first test number. There were 14 other girls. So I narrated the story, and in fact, in my in the stage two, I had 4 recommended girls in my batch. There were 4 recommended girls.
In the PPTT batch.
No, not in the PPTT. I had more recommended girls. In the
Okay.
stage two, the final group that I got into, there were 4 recommended girls. So what I did was I narrated the story, and as you had mentioned, finding that 1 second gap. So I stayed quiet for like first 2 seconds. I found the gap and I
So was
immediately
there a fish
spoke.
market or there was?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
There was a fish. There was a fish
So you had
market.
to hit for the gap.
Yes,
when
yes,
nobody is
sir.
speaking.
Because I realized that if I speak, it will be white noise. There will be no point of it. So what I did was I spoke just to let the assessors know that I have that initiative quality, but I did not indulge in unnecessarily shouting. So then I looked for that 1 second gap and I spoke immediately. And thereafter, because our group had not come to a consensus, I did not volunteer for narrating the story because I did not want to make a blunder out of myself. So we nominated another girl and she narrated the story, and I was confident that I'll make it to stage two.
Sheen, in Air Force they have the psych test on same day,
Yes,
right?
sir, yes.
So when did you just start and did you have any time to mentally prepare yourself?
So after immediately after documentation, we went upstairs, and there were girls who were talking, but I tried to keep my mind calm and I tried to stay fresh for the psych test because as we were told in AMAS that before the psych test you need to have that fresh mind because whatever you talk and all, you will be writing stories around that. So I was just calm, trying to remember all the stories I have prepared. It's not that I'm saying that you mug up certain stories and go with it, but just have idea or have some idea around the stories or pictures that you're taught, so that they instantly click you at that point. So that is what I did, and I just revised the ST that I had prepared, and then I went for my psych test.
And next day was the GTO. Was the GTO split into 2 days or 1 day?
So it was split into 2 days.
So
And
what do you have on the first day?
So on our first day we had GD, and the batch that I got, it was really nice. We had 4 recommended girls, but everybody was very cooperative. And my GD, as you had mentioned that you have to take that initiative of speaking first. So that's what I did. I immediately, when the topic was narrated, I made points, and because I was well aware about the news that was going around, so I immediately spoke and I contributed well.
And GP, how was GP?
So GP, as you mentioned, I wrote according to that this thing format. But sir, we were given less than 10 minutes.
Okay.
He
So you
gave
could
us.
not complete probably the solution.
The last line I could not write, that the subgroup A will come back and will save the cow. But I knew that that's not going to matter. But what I did was, in the discussion part, I specifically made it very clear that the GTO hears that I have come up with the point where subgroup A will be coming back and saving the cow. So to compensate, so that the GTO knows that I had this in mind and it was because of the time constraint.
How was the outdoor task? How could you implement the ideas? Were you were able to come in front and give ideas?
So when
Since you said you had 4 recommended girls with you.
yes, sir.
So what kind of competition
So
was
what
there?
happened was, while sir was narrating the instructions, I already knew what the instructions were going to be, because when we were in AMAS, when there was my batch, sir specifically used to ask us the rules. Like, I remember you telling us कि कल सबको rules learn करके आने हैं. I will only ask you the rules. So I knew all the rules. So there was no point of listening to that. I was listening to him. So looking at him, but my mind was on the plank. So I was constantly focusing on the plank. कि मुझे plank pick up करना है. So when he finished, I immediately took the plank, and then once you have the plank, the first idea is going to be direct planking, so you pick up.
So
and then
in all in PGT and HGT, what was your contribution? Could you give the ideas?
So GT2, you give because these are the easy tasks. Okay, so once you've gone ahead, the GTO knows that you have that initiative quality and you have that ideas. After that, what you have to do is listen to other ideas as well. So the GTO realizes that you're not just trying to bully everybody around and implementing your own ideas. So there were points where I was realizing, and specifically where I was realizing that this idea is not workable. So I was continuously saying, okay, we can try this. If this does not work, I also have an idea. I knew that this was not going to work, but to be supportive towards the group, I constantly said, okay, we can try this. Let's see if it works. Otherwise, I have an idea.
How was your lecture? What topic did you speak on?
So the topics that I already had content on all the topics.
Great.
But I had quotation prepared for a certain topic, which was e-learning. So I went ahead with that because I thought starting with the quotation will. And what I did was I tried to merge the static information as much as possible with the current news that is going on. So I thought that it will give a sense that I'm also updated with the current news and I'm just not repeating the static information. So that is what I.
And how was the command task?
So my
This
command.
must have been on the second day.
Yes, on the
Command
second day.
task, second day.
Before individual, like that was the first task that happened in our command task, and I was.
What was start line, finish line, or circular?
So it was a starting line, finishing line. We don't have circular as such in AFSB. I did not see any circular tasks there. So what happened is that was starting line and finishing line, and we had 2 obstacles in the starting line and 1 obstacle in the ending. And I was told to go from this side to the other side. So my GDO tried to put me as much as possible under pressure, but I was an AMA student. I did not take any pressure. I was calm and composed. And he in between took my helping material, and then he gave me 4 seconds that whatever helping material you want to take, just take it and go ahead. You can't take anymore. So I knew कि बल्ली का काम तो यहाँ extension का ही है. There is nothing more than that. So I did not take balli. I took rope and plank because obviously उतना ज़्यादा तो उठा नहीं सकते थे. So I went ahead and he was giving me time pressure. 15 seconds left. Then he was trying to interact with me. That how did you prepare for your SSB? What is 1 plus 2? What is 2 plus 1? And in between,
So in between, did you also get a chance to get subordinate to somebody?
Yes, sir. So what happened is, as I mentioned, our group was very supportive, and there were girls who were very shy. So we didn't want anybody to feel left out. So we decided that we'll try to give everybody a chance. So
everybody called
everybody. Called everybody. So everybody was called
you
twice.
Also went twice.
Yeah, I also went twice. Yes.
So was the interview on the same day or on the next day?
So I had my interview on the day of GT1. Immediately, sorry, on the GT. No, on GT2. Sorry,
Okay,
on GT2 I had my interview. I immediately went for my interview, and
what was the basic content of the interview?
It was mainly PIQ. A question or two about general knowledge, which were simple. Who is the chief of air staff, and then who is the supreme commander of Indian Armed Forces, and then he asked me about the gallantry awards. So that was basic general knowledge.
Anything to do specific with Air Force?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Of course. He asked me about the branches that I'm willing to choose. And what happened is that there were batches that went before us. So I tried to ask them, what is being asked.
Okay.
So a girl, like 2-3 girls, they told me that he was asking about the sub branches of administration and where they are being trained. So what I did was, the cafeteria opened while everybody was taking phone and talking to their parents. I immediately went on the system and then I searched for it and like what are the branches and what are the systems they're using. And also AFSB has rooms that are named after different aircraft. So my room was Gajraj, which is Illusion 76. So I made sure that I studied about that as well in detail. So he asked me about the administrative branch. Where are the ADM officers trained after passing out from AFA and what
So,
systems are.
interview lasted for how much time? Was an hour?
So it was not much because they had a lot of interviews lined up, so they were trying to wrap up everything within 45 minutes.
45 minutes is a good interview.
Yes, sir.
Pretty long time.
Yes, sir. And mainly it was around PIQ. He was trying to, intimidate me, and there were some gaps in my PIQ where I had not scored well.
Since you are a doctor,
Yes, sir.
right? She's a dental doctor. So was there not questions why you don't want to be in the doctor
Yes, so
profession?
this was exactly the question where I was stuck in my last interview. And that was primarily because I did not own up to it. Because I thought maybe it is wrong to give up my profession and join this thing. And which is why I couldn't justify it. But I just took a time that there is nothing wrong in it. There is nothing wrong in leaving this profession and joining as
As long as you can justify that you love the uniform.
Exactly. So I told the interviewing officer that I'm also trying as a dental officer, but on the other hand, if I have opportunities, why should I give them up?
Right.
And he was.
So you're accepting this?
Yes, he was very accepting towards this because.
How was your conference? Did they ask you again about this, or it was a?
So when I went in for the conference, I was called almost immediately. Actually, there is a funny story that when I was sitting for my conference, one of the officers he came outside, but I was so much focused on when the bell will ring, I did not see it. So for a very long time, I thought that 15-20 minutes have passed and maybe I'm a borderline candidate, and I was very scared. But then I looked this side and I saw this interviewing officer has come outside, and when he went inside, I was immediately called, and I was like, okay.
So what were they asking you?
So they asked me about my hobbies, and I told them that reading and painting were my hobbies, and he told me what kind of reading do I indulge into. So I told him that I indulge into both fiction and non-fiction, but non-fiction is my main preference. So he said, okay, thank you.
And
we went.
out of your batch, how many girls got recommended?
Like the entire this thing,
Entire.
171 girls that reported, 59 were screened in, and 9 were recommended.
So heartiest congratulations,
Thank you,
Sheen,
sir.
and we'd like to present you the tie, last tie. So you will honor us by wearing it,
Yes, sir,
and
sure.
another opportunity and this.